In March of 2023, the South Slough Estuary Reserve on the southern Oregon coast held a special demonstration of a technique to convert biomass, which is unwanted or waste plant material, into carbon sequestration rather than simply burning it in traditional waste piles and putting that carbon into the atmosphere. Consultant Kelpie Wilson of Wilson Biochar Associates explains.
Biochar is charcoal. In the process of burning wood, you go through phases. The first phase is heating it up, and volatiles and water leave as gases. What's left behind is charcoal and ash. If you keep burning, the charcoal burns and you're left with nothing but ash. We're demonstrating the Ring of Fire Biochar Kiln, and we're talking about how to make biochar in the woods, in place, either using this kiln or other devices, or just even in a burn pile. So our technique is it's called the flame cap. So it's a hot fire. It's a quick hot fire, and if we keep always a flame on top, that burns the smoke. So that charcoal is almost pure carbon, and that carbon, when you heat it, when you heat a piece of wood and you make the charcoal, you've changed the molecular structure of that wood. So you've lost the hydrogen and oxygen containing compounds, and what's left of the carbon ends up linking together in these very strong molecules that are called carbon rings. They're very hard to degrade. Microbes can't eat them. And that's a good thing, because that means that when microbes eat carbon, they emit CO2, which goes back to the atmosphere. That's the natural carbon cycle. We're interrupting that cycle. And we're actually creating a pump that can pump carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere and into the soil. The charcoal does a lot of good in soil.
So we have our expert Kelpie Wilson over from Wilson Biochar, and that's been fantastic. So she has given us a wealth of knowledge about biochar, everything from how to set up your kiln, how to get the fire going, how to keep it going. We're going to walk through the end process, how to put it out, but there's been all this information about how to use it when you have the final product. About what kind of fuels you want to put in there, and so it's been a whole hands-on experience and a process of walking through creating biochar, dealing with material that's on the ground, and instead of chipping it or burn piles and all that, it's giving another tool. So it's definitely walked through the whole process of it, which is great.
Biochar is becoming increasingly popular among landowners in my region in Southwest Oregon who are trying to get rid of fuels, especially the small diameter trees and brush that they're removing often to prepare their land for a potential wildfire. And so I've been part of making biochar before, but it's great to be able to rely on Kelpie Wilson's expertise here. She's really done a lot of research into this and is a recognized expert in this field.
This is another tool that homeowners, community members, landowners can use to mitigate that fuel, dispose of that fuel once it's cut and removed from the landscape.
So we're hoping that this will be able to be not only a good case study for others, but also use it on the reserve when we're doing our regular brush clearing, as we're doing restoration projects, and as we're getting rid of invasive species. We have continuously a lot of brush and things that we've up until now either chipped or had to get off the reserve. So this looks like a really good technique for getting rid of the brushy parts that we don't need while still keeping the carbon and essential nutrients on the land.
So I've been working with biochar since 2007. And initially there was biochar, what's that? These days I'm more like, tell me a little more about this biochar stuff. So that's really good progress. A lot of landowners are starting to adopt it as they hear about it and get excited about what it can do for their gardens, or their animal husbandry, livestock. And now the agencies too are getting very interested in it for a number of reasons.